All right, everyone. Welcome to the 121% podcast. My name is Kevin Johnson with Century 21 OneBlue and the OneBlue Real Estate School. Welcome to our inaugural show. We've got Gavin Hatcher here, who is our Chief Success Officer, and Daniel Rodriguez, who is our Director of Digital Media Marketing, here to talk. And, today is going to be kind of a loose show where, just getting to know you getting to know us a bit. And we'll talk about what we have coming up in some future episodes, but some great stuff. I thought we'd start off this episode, guys, with talking about, our journey to where we are today, right? I started in the business not that long ago compared to some broker owners out there. 2014, I left a 17-year career in the hospitality industry, walked away from that and said, I want to do real estate. Got started, rocked it. First 90 days, $107,000 in commissions earned. Continued on, was with the Century 21 office, then got Centurion. Also won the Ruby Master Award my first year, quality service producer. And after 2 years in the business, I went to my broker and said, hey, can we talk about my split a little bit? We're doing a 70-30 here, and I'm like 43% of your volume. And, the short version of an hour-long conversation was, you'll never leave me. So, no, I can't afford to do that. And like I told him, I said, I know I'm from Louisiana, and I went to Louisiana public schools, and I have my shoes on, so I don't have my toes available. But if I did 90-10, 10% of something is better than no percent of nothing. And that's when he said, you'll never leave me. So the next week I left. I had actually just passed my broker's license, so went ahead and activated. We started up, went to go start the brokerage. I actually called Century 21, spoke with Rick Ellis in franchise sales, and said, hey, I want a Century 21. And he's like, because you're an agent with the Century 21 office, we can't sell you one. So I'm like, fine. So I went to a RE/MAX I told the broker there, I said, look, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. My goal is to open my own office. I could be here a week, a month, a year. I don't know. Right? I was honest. I was there for a week and a half.
A week and a half.
Oh, my God.
It was a very brief period. Because when they said, no, you can't have a Century 21 because, first it was, you're a Century 21 agent. We can't sell your franchise. We don't pillage and plunder from our own brokerages, which I think is a cool deal. Mm-hmm. So I opened up the brokerage. I left with the RE/MAX, and then I said, okay, I'm opening the brokerage now. I'm not a Century 21 agent. I'm at RE/MAX, but I'm opening my own brokerage. And he goes, we don't do startups. I'm like, this would have been helpful information like 2 weeks ago. Like, seriously. So, lo and behold, we opened OneBlue Real Estate, and we opened the Real Estate School, and that was in 2016. So, really just about, right at the 24 months rule in Florida, and we started growing aggressively, right? It was kind of awe-inspiring to see, the team that started to assemble, and you had that strong family culture. Everybody loved everybody, and everybody got along. It was a really diverse team, which I was really proud of. And I would love to say I did it by design, but it just kind of happened. And 18 months later, knock on the door here at the new office, and Rick Ellis. He's like, I wanted to sit down and talk with you. So I gave him the grand tour. I said, imagine, this could have been Century 21. And I'm like, and he's like, well, that's what I'm here to talk to you about. I'm like, I can do it on my own. I figured it out now. Like, I don't need you now. All the while inside, I'm like, oh my God. So,
got it.
Yeah, you got it, And so, about 2 months later, so actually in about 3 weeks, we will be celebrating our 3rd year anniversary as a Century 21 office. So it's coming up in June. So pretty exciting. 5 years in the business in September as a brokerage. And the rest is history. I mean, we've come a long way as a Century 21 as well. We've won Quality Service Producer Award for the office both years, going on, tracking to have our 3rd year this year. So that's exciting. And, Gavin, you joined us not too long after we moved into the new offices. So were we a Century 21 then, or we were OneBlue?
No, you were still a Century 21. It was just over 2 years ago.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we had made that change, and you came through our school to do 45-hour.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty awesome. And then you decided to come join us.
Yep.
First year in the business, you were a bit struggling. You were at a boutique brokerage.
Yep. I was at a different brokerage. Totally realized what I didn't know.
Yeah. Totally realized what I love that. I totally realized what I didn't know.
Didn't know. And, came and did my 45 here. met you and John, and was totally impressed by Century 21 and all the technology and everything that I could bring to my business, and made that switch straight away.
Yeah. So what about you were impressed with the brand? What about the brand kind of impressed you?
I mean, any Century 21 agent really with the brand, with this, you go in with that prestige. You go in already with a leg up in the business because you've got the brand behind you. Particularly to the brokerage, the technology, the training, CRM that we use here was fantastic. Ran my business. I was working another job at the time.
Yeah, full time at that point still.
Yeah, I was still full time at a restaurant. I was bartending and serving. Popular restaurant in Orlando here. Am I allowed to say their name?
You can, go ahead.
Okay, Santiago's. Exactly, yeah, Santiago's Bodega. I worked up on Park Avenue as well for 310 and Blue restaurants as well. And since I moved to Orlando with the missus down from Chicago. From Chicago. But yeah, I was in performing. I was a dancer. I was a performer for many, many years. I did that from a very early age. And I used to dance all over the world, really. I've done World Music Awards. I've done Nickelodeon tours out here. I've been all over. I worked for a lot of different artists.
Have you ever been slimes? Like, remember that Nickelodeon used to do the green slime?
Thank goodness, no. Yeah, but the good thing about those...
I'd have paid money to see that, actually.
Those Nickelodeon tours were great, though, because we got to go to pretty much most of the places were amphitheaters around, like, Six Flags and things like that. So we had our lanyards on, and we just hit the front of the queue and get on all the rides. It was fantastic. I know, we loved it.
Those were the good old days.
They were the good old days.
Now you got to wait in line.
Yeah, and then I got old. So, eventually, I had a great career in that. I was very, very lucky. I got to travel all over the world. And then I met the missus. She's from Chicago. We met whilst working for Princess Cruise Lines.
So the love boat is true.
The love boat happened. Yeah, exactly. It turned into a love boat. Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah, let's not go into that. And met Mrs. We lived up in Chicago for about a year. We got married up there at the Drake Hotel downtown. Beautiful hotel downtown.
Actually, I went to a Christmas party at the Drake in their big grand ballroom. It's a gorgeous hotel right there on the lake.
Beautiful. We got a great deal because it was February and it was freezing.
Yeah.
So we got a great deal.
I couldn't live in Chicago during the winter.
Well, that was it. We did one winter there.
And you're like,
see ya.
Sailing the seven seas, tropical destinations, sunshine, white sand, crystal blue waters to... Chicago. Dirty snow and...
Don't get me wrong. I love Chicago. I love the people. I love the place. I love the restaurants. I love everything about it apart from the winter. Yeah.
My favorite restaurant's up there, Carlucci's, right by the airport, right by Chicago O'Hare, and there's one in Downers Grove. I would fly there for food. Like, it's that awesome.
Well,
Is that good?
Oh, yeah. They'd bring out a Parmesan wheel and, like, toss stuff right there, table side, right there.
Lou Malnati's pizza.
Yeah.
That's... The butter crust on those pizzas are amazing. I get them sent down frozen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we digress. We digress a bit. But so Mrs. actually is now in the real estate business too, right? She's a part of the brokerage.
Definitely. Yeah, she joined the brokerage. Now she's with us full time now. Yeah. Out there. So.
And recently, for those watching and listening, make sure you check us out on YouTube if you're on our podcast. But we asked you to take on some more responsibilities, kind of leave the streets and come into the brokerage. Your success by taking our systems and, the systems and processes that we'll be talking about on this podcast, in fact, in future episodes, you applied all of them. You were one of those rare agents that from the get-go said, all right, I'm going to do what you tell me to do, and I'm going to follow the script and just do it, right? Every agent, for whatever reason, says, oh, you followed the system and you were successful, Kevin. Yes, great. I'm going to do it. And then they start changing things and then they wonder why it doesn't work. Right. You applied everything and saw, 300% growth your first 2 years with us each year, 300% plus year over year. So we decided to say, hey, would you come into the office and help, pound this into the heads of our other agents and help mentor our newer agents through our 21 Jumpstart program, and take over the role of Chief Success Officer. So how has that transition been going from, selling and all that to in the office?
Interesting. I'm sure you're loving having me here.
Of course.
It's...
If you're on YouTube, you can see the look.
I know, exactly. I can see your face. It was an interesting transition because obviously you've got a lot more freedom You know, when you're out there as a realtor, obviously you have to set your schedule. You have to make sure you're, you know, blocking your time and doing what you need to do. But at the same time, you can just take a day off. You know, it's like, hey, you know, I want to go and do this today.
Plan your business and you can do it.
Exactly. But now I'm a 9 to 5er.
The minimums.
The minimums. The 9 to 5er in the office now. So, no, but I like it. I love helping the agents. Obviously, you know, I love helping them. I love helping them and seeing their success. So that's really what drives me. And on a day-to-day basis, that's really what makes me feel good. And that's job satisfaction.
Yeah, it goes to why we opened the brokerage. As much as I love my old broker, and we're friends to this day, he's been in the business for, I think, over 50 years now. And it still had that old school brokerage mentality where everything revolved around the broker. And I said, there's got to be a better way. Coming from the hospitality industry, you know, I always used to tell our team in the hotels that our guests could fire us at any point just by taking their business elsewhere. It comes from Sam Walton, right? And I would tell our department heads, I was the general manager and area GM, and I trained GMs with Hilton Corporate, that your staff can fire you just by quitting and going work at a competitor, and then all that money you've invested in them is gone. And for whatever reason, in the real estate space, it seemed to be the reverse. Brokers in general felt that it was an honor and a privilege for you to go work with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, that's just not how it is. So our mentality at Century 21 OneBlue, and it has been since the day we opened our doors, is that the agent is our customer as a leadership team, as a support team. They can fire us any day just by moving their license and going to another brokerage. So we have to work hard each and every day to earn their business, and do so by being, you know, agent-centric, making sure that every decision we make, if we're rolling out a new system or tool or resource, that it's making their lives easier. And not just by incremental, because I don't have someone learn something new or adapt to a new system because it's incremental improvement. It has to be monumental improvement. And even if that means our lives are more difficult, that's okay, because those are the ones that I want them out there focusing on you know, providing a great extraordinary experience, defying that mediocrity, and just, you know, wowing the customer. So that's why we do what we do. That's why we have the school, because coming from an education background with training at Hilton Corporate, I was stunned. I went to all these different schools, you know, one course. So I did my 6 3-hour one class. I did my exam prep for sales at another school. I did my broker at another school. I did my broker prep at another school. And I'm like, it was always just the same experience. Someone reading from a book lecturing to you. And at the end of the day, you barely held on to the knowledge to walk out the door. And that's how the perception has developed, that you don't need what you learn in pre-license courses, when in fact is, if you're not using what you learned in pre-license, you're probably breaking the law, and you're just damn lucky you haven't gotten caught, right? So it's so
that serious. Yeah,
yeah, like, I mean, 60. I joke with 63-hour the pre-license sales course here in Florida. That is the keep you out of jail class. The 45-hour post-license is, okay, now that we taught you how to stay out of jail, now let's teach you actually how to start to build a business.
Exactly.
That's the main difference there, right? So, yeah, it's one of the big challenges. So going back to, that's why we have this brokerage, right? It's to provide that experience for agents. And we've seen we're growing about 50-60% year over year in agent count. And our goal is to double our count by the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
But by recruiting and affiliating with people who are just as passionate as you, me, Daniel, and everybody else. Yeah. And building our team and our family and keeping that culture, keeping the diversity. I mean, we ran the numbers. Actually, at our awards banquet, and one of the brand team members was there, and she looked out and she goes, "Kevin, come here." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Your office is so diverse. You have such a diverse, I mean, look at this." And it's not at the forefront. I mean, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, it wasn't like we tried to recruit. It's just when you create the right environment, when you create the right culture in the office, this is going to attract this similar type, similar-minded people. And we've done that. And I compared this to the NAR stats for, members of NAR, which is like 82% white, and we're like 30% white. Yeah. So it's really nice, right? And we have every continent represented on the team. Literally every continent. Yeah. I think except Antarctica maybe, but So that's just, I mean, it's awesome. And I mean, our annual potlucks are the bomb with all the food.
Oh, the food. Yeah. Oh.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, we have that cooking show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
what's it come with the cooking show?
Yeah. If you're listening, want to check out some cool stuff on YouTube, coming in July for the 50th anniversary of Century 21, we are releasing a cooking show where we're going to feature celebrity agents preparing some of their favorite dishes from their childhoods and beyond. And, when you think about real estate, the center of the home is the kitchen, right? And so for 50 years, for 50 years, Century 21 agents have been helping families find that home, find that center. And so we're going to go to the kitchen, record these, I think it's 8 to 10 episodes we got planned. Filming starts next week for the first one, but we'll release them in July. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not going to say too much, but it's a very good representation, I should say, of our brokerage, because we have Colombian, Puerto Rican, British, Indian, like it's
a bit of everything.
We have entrees and desserts. I want to say one of the dishes, but I'm afraid that maybe Apple Podcasts might flag it, so we'll hold off on that. But it's a traditional British dish, believe it or not. But we have another one. It's called Toad in the Hole.
Toad in the Hole.
That Ian's making. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Well, and one of the things talking about being agent focused, as I kind of change gears real quick. But one of the things I've always tried to do is, what were some of my pain points as an agent, and how could I solve those for agents? So one of them was, having transaction management. So we have that for them. You have to worry about that.
That's a godsend.
Contract to close, we got you, right? But one of the other things is real estate agents in their basic form are not great marketers, right? Some are. There's some great marketing minds that are agents. But as a whole, when it comes to media, when it comes to, video and all that, we overall generally suck as a group, right? So we brought on, and dedicated some of our annual salary and budget to having a full-time digital media director. And we had an exhaustive search. I will tell you, I looked for probably about a year and a half, and we got it down to 2 people. The first one didn't work out, which we're good with, because all things happen for a reason. First one didn't work out. We learned quickly, and we found Daniel right after that, who had some background in real estate photography and videography, drone pilot and all that. And so we stole him from our favorite photographer in town for our listings, which was an awkward conversation. Hey, Vic, by the way, I'm taking your guy. So now we have Daniel, and we provide great services to our agents at a deep discount. It's not free. Right, we have a very aggressive comp plan of 80-20 split with annual cap. That's every agent, and everybody's on the same plan. So we charge nominal charges, probably 10 to 15% of what you would pay on the open market for stuff. But we've done some awesome Meet the Relentless videos with some of our agents. So, and the man behind that, what really made Daniel stand out when we made him the offer was he wasn't just great behind the camera. Right, he wasn't just great from the technical perspective, and this is coming from a complete idiot when it comes to the technical perspective. So I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about, but he's a great storyteller, and he looks at everything as, how can we do a better job of telling the story, whether it be a listing or whether it be our agents. And I mean, I think we have 5 or 6 Meet the Relentless episodes out. Those are some amazing storytelling videos. And some amazing shots, like out on the beach in Cocoa and the lake. So, Dad, talk a little bit about your background. Like, where you're a youngin' compared to us over here, but
dinosaurs.
Hey, okay. He forgets who signs the paychecks,
I'm just
right?
Turn this way for a second.
Well, okay, but so talk about where does your passion for storytelling and filming come from?
Well, hello. My name is Daniel Rodriguez. I'm a filmmaker, and that's a really interesting question because I've always thought I think that's in blood, family. When you got it, and that just runs in the family. My father, he's a filmmaker, award-winning photographer. He actually has National Prize of Photography. It has been a journey because it's like even when I was little. I always said that you never want to be like your dads, right? Like sometimes they are your heroes, but sometimes you just like want to be something else.
You want to be that rebel.
Right? Yeah, you wanted to be the rebel, the black sheep. You just like, and I wanted to be a chef and I wanted to be a politician, but then it just
Those
like
two things come together.
it calls you. Like sometimes it's like in your blood, even if you try to avoid it. Yeah, it has been a journey. I have always been a storyteller. But mainly it started like a passion towards filmmaking, film actually. And that started to evolve. It's been 8 years since I have been in the industry.
Since he was 12.
Yeah, we would know we were dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Trust me, he'll remember that later.
no.
Yeah, no, right now I am specialized in architectural photography, real estate photography. I have always had a passion for architecture. But that's like right now, because before I was working with different brands as a freelance filmmaker. I was really passionate about the commercial part of it, advertisement. So I had the opportunity to work with brands like Jaguar, Nissan, Argos, music festivals. What else? Yeah, there's like...
So it's a pretty diverse background.
Yeah, pretty diverse.
And it wasn't just like one like it's like you were like hit in the car field, like where these, but it's like kind of all over the place, which was appealing because it gives you that diversity of thought, diversity of design. Like you look.
Yeah. You can just start to pick that's the thing about storytelling, right? It's universal, and that's what I here at Century 21 OneBlue. I believe that's what we're looking for as well. To just like every piece of content that we have, we want it to go above and beyond in terms of like storytelling, because we want people to actually feel connected with every piece of content that we develop.
I mean, even going down to, listings, right? You can go in and take photos of a listing and take pictures of four walls and the floor, right? Or the amenities and features. But what story does that house tell? How can we communicate to buyers how it feels to live there? What's the experience like living? I mean, does the home have a pool that overlooks, or faces east? So what's it like to be there in the morning as the sun's rising with a cup of coffee, and just enjoying that? Or if it faces west, having an adult beverage while the sun sets. I mean, really trying to mentally, through storytelling, get that buyer into the picture, get him into the home. I think it's important, and it's something that we're really focused on. We haven't perfected it yet, but we're moving in that direction.
It's definitely a focus, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at what we're doing here with the podcast, and this one's kind of got a bit hodgepodge. We do have a topic we're going to dive into in a minute, but it's, how can we share our combined unique story that is OneBlue, from our agents, from our team, and all the folks that we've had the honor and privilege and sometimes the distress of working with, right? Because our experiences are positive and negative, shape who we are, and take that combined story. So this market we're in, I think we can kind of say it's a bit of a unique beast, right? We're for those that may be watching in the future.
Say that again.
We're recording this in May 2021, coming off the heels of a global pandemic. If we, had a conversation a year ago, March, when, in March we gathered as our team, we went out to Splitsville and had a bowling night, and had I was trying to have fun that night, but in the back of my mind, knowing like, oh my God, this is getting bad, right? We just finished 121 in Los Angeles. We're leaving on airplanes, and they're shutting down LA schools. I'm like, okay, how many businesses are going to go under? Like real estate, being still a younger brokerage, right?
How's that going to affect us?
How's it going to affect us? Our agents, I was scared. If you told me then, as Walt Disney World was announcing they were shutting their doors for an indefinite period of time, something that's unprecedented, never happened before. If you had told me, don't worry, Kevin, it is going to be the best real estate market, we've seen like in decades. Like it's going to be killer. Like you're going to see triple digit growth. I mean, I'd have called you an idiot, right? But the reality is that, we've seen this. And one of the main reasons is, our behaviors are shifting so much. We're having the great migration. Florida is one of those beneficiary states. We're seeing huge influx of people coming in from New Jersey, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, California. Our top 5 right now. And because so many companies are saying, hey, we realized during this pandemic that we don't have to have our workforce in the building. We can actually work from home and make it happen, right?
Yep.
It kind of forced those companies to experiment, and lo and behold, they can cut their physical space. So residents of those states are realizing, states like Florida, we have plenty of sunshine, we have ample beaches, great water. We have a huge shortage, though. One thing that we are massively lacking here in Florida that for some folks isn't a problem is snow. So we don't have any of that stuff here. So we're good there. And if you're looking for that, not here. But
there's a dry ski slope.
Yeah, the other thing we have a shortage of is we don't have a state income tax. So people can move here. It's a lower cost of living than where they're coming from in those 5 states. An instant pay raise on top of that with no state income tax. So while we're seeing these ridiculously amazing numbers in housing, if you will, we are seeing that exponentially greater here in Florida and in areas like Central Florida and the Tampa market where we operate offices at. So it has been impressive. The challenge is obviously that we were already in a bit of a tight seller's market. It wasn't. We would have 3 to 4 months of supply prior to the pandemic. Now we have days, right? And in some areas,
from months to days.
And in some areas, like we're seeing middle road of the market, the main street of the market, going under contract in 6 to 8 hours. Like we
were saying this. It was a couple of months ago. It was 3 days in Tampa, 7 days in Orlando.
Yeah.
Now it's hours.
Right. It's crazy. So one thing talking to our audience of agents and brokers that it's a challenge if you're working with buyers. You are struggling because you are presenting offers on properties that I joke. They have longer lines at open houses now than Walt Disney World attractions, right?
It's true.
I want to open up a concession company and go around open houses and sell, Mickey Mouse ice cream bars and stuff.
Especially with the pandemic, everyone's queued out the door because you can't just throw an open house and let everybody in.
So it's been an interesting market, and we're seeing multiple offers. We've had several properties that we've listed within the last couple months that we've exceeded 24 offers in 24 hours. It's just mind-boggling, and agents are getting discouraged.
Yep.
Buyers are getting extremely discouraged. The prices are going up. We're seeing this acceleration ramp in Tampa and Orlando where, from January, February, March, it's getting worse. Bigger and bigger price increases year over year. We hit 19% in Central Florida, for example, 17% over in Tampa just in April. And buyers are like panicking, and then you have FOMO, fear of missing out, coming in. So one of the things we wanted to chat about today was, kind of talking about how you as an agent can help, keep a positive mindset and be, objective and help buyers navigate this process, because it's too easy for us, to get emotionally invested with our buyers, especially, right?
Yeah. And it's tough because we're all human beings.
Yep.
It happens.
And you feel bad. We had a conversation with an agent this morning. She's like, I'm just trying to help this lady. She's a single mom with, 2 little kids on a fixed income. And I'm like, yes, we want to help them. We want to do whatever we can to help them. But she was starting to get emotionally, like almost in tears, talking to me this morning. I'm like, trying to back her down. Like, okay, let's go back to objective. Let's look at the facts and see what we can do to strengthen the offer. I mean, she's an FHA buyer, and for whatever reason, we have, unfortunately, a lot of real estate professionals, and I struggle there, that will they think an FHA offer or a VA offer is a lesser offer than a cash or conventional, and I fundamentally disagree. Right. So what are some of the things that we can do to help our agents, stay positive and help buyers actually get offers accepted right now? So, I mean, what are some of the things that you're advising your agents in the 21 Jumpstart program?
Transparency, honesty, being upfront with the buyer, giving them all the facts, giving them everything, letting them know exactly what's going on in the market right now. Because for some buyers, it might not be the right time to actually make that move, So,
which also begs the question: if it now is not the right time, it's going to be even harder in a year. So that it's that double-edged sword.
Yeah.
What about one of the things I'm starting to see a trend happen, and I've kind of had to remind our team, is that it is so important to do that in-person, face-to-face, cross the table, buyer consultation. We're so quick. We want to panic in this market. Oh, I got a call. They talk to the lender. They're good to go. Let's start going showing houses. Yeah. No, sit down with them, right? Because part of that experience, right? We talk about time and time and time again, we need to stop being, transactional and be experiential. Right? Yeah. That's been our mantra now, and and that buyer consultation is a critical piece of that. Yeah. It's setting the tone to say, hey, look, this is where we're at. Like you said, transparency and honest. Yeah. We're in a very tight market. It's going to be competitive, right? There is a good chance, in all likelihood, 100% chance right now, that you're going to have to be willing to go above the asking price in order to get it. So if your max budget's $250 or $300, you need to be looking at below that. Yeah. Right? Not shopping up to your max, so you have some wiggle room to get in there. Yeah. But having that realistic conversation with them so that it's not, once you're in the transaction, once you're out there showing houses, I should say, that you're having to start explaining this. The contract. We all know what offer form we're using, right? And across the United States, every state has their forms. It baffles me how many times a buyer, the first time they see that form is when they're submitting an offer. When time is of the essence, especially right now, we give them a copy of that at that buyer consultation, fill in the blanks that are going to be there, right? Like the normal stuff. Highlight the blanks of what they're going to need to know. Give it to them and let them understand it ahead of time and say, look, if you want to have an attorney review this, and I strongly encourage everyone to do that, now is the time. This is the form. Now is the time to have that attorney review it, not once you find the house. Now is the time to get with the lender, right? Also, make sure you have all your documents that we're going to need for submittal. So having that conversation, right? Being transparent and honest and say, hey, this is not going to be easy.
Yeah, this is definitely not going to be easy right now.
What I say in class all the time, if you've seen House Hunters, right, it's 3 showings and a closing.
It's no.
Real estate has, HGTV, love the shows. Flip or Flop, I'm a big fan, but that is not reality TV by any stretch of the imagination. That's not what it's like. And we see it on both sides. We see it with the buyers that we meet with, and we see it with the agents that come through the school. Like, oh, I'm going to get my license, and the reason I get my license because I'm gonna be a millionaire next year. Yeah, like for real. Like I'm work 2 hours a week too. Yeah, right. No. It's hard. Yeah. So, and I kind of lost my train of thought there a bit, but having those honest to God conversations, making sure that it's going to be tough. You're going to have to.
Yeah. Be completely transparent. Be upfront. Let them know the obstacles. Let them know what's going on. Then they're not going to be surprised, because at the moment you are showing multiple. If you're working with buyers, you are showing multiple properties. You are getting turned down on multiple properties right now.
And that's discouraging for both agent and buyer, right? So the way we can help the buyers is by being transparent and honest. But what about our agents, right? Because agent mental health is really important. And in this market, especially for newer agents, you want to try to keep them from getting discouraged or getting down, especially when they start to emotionally attach to their customer. What are some things you think that agents can do to be able to kind of reset every day and
yeah, I mean, you've got to keep your daily routine. You've got to keep your daily routine, whatever happens. You've got your calendar's been blocked out. You know what you're doing that day, but then you need to take time for yourself.
Yes.
Realize why you're doing it in the first place. So do whatever makes you happy. Do your hobby. For me, cooking. I love cooking.
Yeah.
So for me, if I've had a stressful day, I am, I've been emotionally involved, like with a buyer, and I'm like, oh God, I really want them to get this place. I just reset, go in the kitchen, cook something, And it relieves, that's my thing, that relieves my stress.
Sometimes that is equally as important as the work itself.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. Taking the time away from it and just going, you know what, I've just got to put this down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's finding, I'm a big fan of an author, Marcus Buckingham, and he wrote a good book on strengths and great mind. I mean, just when he talks about strengths and weaknesses, right? Our weaknesses are our weaknesses, our strengths are our strengths. And our strengths are what recharge us, and our doing things that are our weaknesses kind of like drain us. And I kind of equate that to what we do now is, we love to do what we do with helping buyers and sellers. That's our passion. For us, it's helping our agents. But when you get that constant, like, agents calling us or buyers, they get discouraged, it drains us, right?
Oh, yeah.
So having that your me time, whatever it is, cooking or gym, clearly not me if you're on YouTube.
I'm trying to get back after the quarantine. Yeah, I'm trying to get back.
I joined a gym, but they said you had to do more than drink at the smoothie bar. I was but for me, it's boating. It's getting out in the boat. Just turn the phone off and throttles all the way forward and just let the wind and the water. And it's just, to me, it's the most, I mean, both of you have been out my boat. Like, it's just, it's peaceful and it recharges me. It truly does.
You know what it is about it that it's so good about hobbies is that you never try to be, you let go of the necessity of being the best at it. Right?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
for example,
it's not competition.
I want to be the best cinematographer and marketing director in Orlando, for example, right?
Just Orlando?
That is, dude.
For now.
Okay. Step one.
Okay.
And you have that pressure on all your week. I want to be the best real estate agent, right? You're always putting yourself up there. You're always thinking about the future, and it can be overwhelming, right? And then maybe you go and surf on a Sunday. Are you going to be a surfer, a professional surfer? No.
Probably not.
Right? Probably not, right? Or a chef or whatever. No. You just enjoy it because you don't have the pressure of being the best at this.
And you're doing something you enjoy that's not stressful. It's, if you're cooking a meal that comes out bad, whatever,
Exactly.
or if you...
Well, I would be mad.
I've been on the boat and broke down, right? It's like, I joked the other day, when we did have to get Joe back in for the first time ever. I'm like, you know what? It was the best day I've ever had on my boat because I didn't have to drive. I could sit back, relax, and like just enjoy the water without motors.
Saw it from a totally different
perspective.
perspective.
Right? I'm like going this is an idea. Like maybe I should just like drive halfway out and call the tow. I mean, it's free, so then it's great on fuel. But yeah, so finding that way to recharge, and I was reading an article yesterday. I think it was Inman that talking about the habits of successful agents and non-successful, and overwhelmingly with successful agents is taking time off. One of the things that I did from the day I got in this business, and for no reason other than it was just a convenient day to do, was Sunday. I did not, where I never showed houses. I'm not trying to be religious. It wasn't even that. It was just, for me, Monday through Friday, title companies, inspections are going on. You can't. And did I lose buyers and maybe some sellers? Probably. But I have to put me first. I have to get rest. I have to, recharge so that I can be my best on those other days. So I would work like a dog. Like I was at the office, as an agent even, I had a desk. I rented a desk in an office at my brokerage. I was there by 7. I usually was there till after 7, except out showing houses and meeting with sellers. You got to have that routine.
Oh yeah.
And have that time off, have that me time.
I did the same thing.
Yeah,
I think I remember you telling me about that way at the beginning. And I was like, no, it's going to be Sundays unless you've got that multi-million-dollar buyer that's...
See, not even me.
Really?
No.
That was my exception to the rule.
Yeah, that was my day. That was me. And it was the best decision. And you look at the mastermind groups on Facebook and stuff, and it's kind of funny to see, like, when the conversation of time off and, do you work past this time? It's the battle of two agents. And one of the things that I like to do, especially with Central Florida, agents is I'll go and look at production. I'll go back into broker metrics and say, okay, this agent's saying, no, you have to do whatever every day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Versus the agent says, no, I'm done at 6 and, I take this day off or I take these 2 days off, right? Or whatever. Those agents that have a regimented schedule and take that time off are typically higher producing agents.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're focused on them when it's important. So I think it's important in this market too, right? Even it's a hot market, you got to show right away. You got to have that time for you. So we talked about transparency. We talked about having that good, honest, face-to-face, across the table buyer consultation. We've talked about some me time. What other tips do you think? What else could we offer to help them?
I mean, with that, it's.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is, as difficult as it is, and it's sometimes harsh and cruel as it might sound, is to stay objective.
Yeah.
You cannot get emotionally invested. You want to be invested from a business perspective. You want to be empathetic. You want to do whatever you can to help them, right? That's all there. You want to do all that, but what you can't do is get so far emotionally invested that you're not objective anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It's the buyer's making that emotional decision. And we need to help be the objective part to it.
We have to be the professional. We can't bring that.
And that's one of the other challenges too, that, you hear a lot, well, cash is king right now. And when you look at the percentage of cash offers, they're out there, but there's no surge in cash offers right now compared to what it has been, because for what's happening in our market right now is an emotional surge. It's pure emotion of driving up the prices. This is not, a good business decision, right? If I'm an investor, I care about the cash. I care about the numbers. Do those numbers work? And overpaying for a property 20, 30K above market is not really a good decision all the time, right? So you'll often see where a conventional offer or VA or FHA will get accepted over cash. So don't listen to the gossip on Facebook world, right? It's, you have to be objective. You have to don't get into the hype, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Be objective and help them out.
But because sometimes the cash offer is not the best offer,
right? And I've seen, especially with our listings, it's not always the highest offer that gets accepted.
Definitely not.
Right. Yeah. It's what's the best offer for the seller. So maybe even picking up the phone and calling the listing agent, and listing agents out there, answer your phones, please. I can't tell you how many times we've picked up the phone. I would say at least 80% of the time we can't get an answered phone call. Yeah. It blows my mind. But answer those phone calls. But call and ask, what does the seller need? Check with the seller. Is it, do they need a 8-week closing? Do they need a 6-week closing? What do they need?
Yeah, right? That might be the important thing to the seller.
Right. So you can form that perfect offer for them to be able to get that offer accepted. And then maybe they're okay with it not being the highest. We had one recently where the highest offer wasn't accepted, and it was a family who their daughter had been was involved in a pretty bad motor vehicle accident, which left her with a permanent mobility disability for the rest of her life, forever. And the house they lived in didn't have a first floor bedroom. Right. So they had to find a house quickly that had a first floor bedroom and bathroom, full bathroom, right? And so they needed to be in the same area for schools and stuff, and it was tough. We were the listing agent on it, and I'll tell you right now, the seller did not go with the highest offer. Theirs was not. And it's that communication, having that dialogue. As a listing agent, there's certain things you can't say to the buyer's agent without the seller's permission, but I can go back and relay anything I'm asked to. Yeah. And then create that dialogue, and that's what happened. Yeah. So that's really important.
Well, flexibility can be very important with those contracts, definitely.
Yep. So lots of great stuff. Daniel, what are your thoughts? You're not an agent, you're not a licensee. So what are your thoughts just watching this market unfold and all the news from,
It definitely was shocking from that's the other side of the fence. Yeah. Because I felt it because before that, before March, for example, I was already doing real estate photography and filmmaking. But then I was doing probably, 2 houses per week, 3 houses. And as soon as the pandemic started, I was like, this is it. Like,
Yeah, you're like,
there's no,
I'm screwed.
I'm gonna be a waiter. Like, not even, because even restaurants were
Close, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
there was like nothing. Like, I think everyone was like on the edge of their seats. And then, surprise, I ended up doing almost like 20 houses
In a
per week.
Yeah.
Right? And we were all wondering, like, what is going on? Right? It was like, I certainly still am a little bit clueless regarding why the market is like responded that way. And I certainly am interested to know where it's going.
Well, I mean, think about it for a second. You know, you're married or not married. I'm not saying you, but a couple's married, have kids. How much time do they actually spend together in a normal world, right? It's everybody's at school or at work, right? You spend more time, I used to joke with our agent, my employees in the hotel business, you spend more waking hours with your coworkers than you do with your family. Because you go home for a couple hours and it's bedtime, right?
Yeah.
So now we take that environment and shift it to you are spending 24/7 with these people, and you realize,
You hate
right? I need more space.
To life.
Oh my, this place is too small. I need a bigger space. Or, you know, maybe we should not be married. Or in the case of one of our agents who, they've been together. You know, the husband traveled a lot. All of a sudden, he's home because of the pandemic. He's not traveling, and now we've welcomed a future agent to the family. You know, little baby Vera. So I mean, it's you should see what happens when I finally get to keep him home. I have a kid finally. You know, so the expanding family. So you have all of those factors. You know, we joke, but all of those factors coming in too to say. Okay, maybe this home isn't the right home. Maybe we do need to change.
Well, this is it, and now everyone can work from wherever they want to work from as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've had a lot of friends that worked at Hilton Corporate that were office-based positions like in Memphis or DC, and have moved to Florida now because they've changed their position to work from home. So here I am, Florida, no income tax.
I did the same thing. I had a friend who worked for he's in the entertainment department for Princess Cruise Lines. And I helped him and his wife sell their home down in St. Cloud. They moved over to California. That's where the corporate offices are for Princess Cruise Lines. Pandemic hits. He's working from home all the time, then realizes that he can work from anywhere. And his wife's family live in Lakeland.
So they're back.
So they're back, and I helped them buy a house there. And this all happened in the space of a year.
You got the referral in California, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. I helped them sell the place here. I got the referral for the place over there, and then I helped them buy the place over here.
The benefits of working for the global leader in real estate.
There you go.
The Realogy franchise brands, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So some great stuff. So any other final thoughts? Or
Of course, yeah. Like, as soon as that shift started, and we were not able, like, people were not comfortable doing open houses or actually doing in-person tours or anything. Of course, the real estate industry, the photography and video industry as well had to transition.
You had
right?
to step your game up.
You had to, everything changed, like literally. So from there on, we started to implement and just like start taking seriously virtual showings. Right, and that was like a big step into the industry. And right now, even though we don't have to do them, people are getting used to it. Right, people rather just like do a virtual showing. Just
and keep in mind, and here in Florida, you know, we're open for business. It's like California; they just got permission to have open houses last week, so it varies state by state. But yeah, I mean, one of the funniest things that happened is we started as the pandemic hit and everybody was kind of locked at home. We started a daily Zoom town hall, and we've been using Zoom well before, right? We've done virtual showings well before, right? We had a lot of international buyers here, and a lot, you know, we have, most people have met our friendly neighbors, Harry and Mickey, you know, at the two places. So a lot of tourists come here. We have a lot of vacation homes here. And so that was very common to go out with FaceTime or Zoom or whatever and do them. So all of a sudden, everybody's across the country, oh my God, let's do virtual showings, We're like, one of our agents, actually, it was Aro, he's like, we've been doing these the whole time. Like, is this like
everyone's like, this is new. And it's like, no,
again,
we've been doing this.
My slogan of being agent-centric, future-focused, right? We had been doing that forever. We'd been doing weekly Open the House with Kevin calls, via Zoom. So it was just second nature.
And we have our mortgage mastermind once a week as well.
Yeah, all via Zoom.
All via Zoom.
It was being done before COVID, right? So, for us, it wasn't, the only big disruption for us was that the office was closed to agents and students. So all of our courses with the school were via Zoom, which was kind of new for us, because we much prefer to help students in person. It's a better learning experience. But then for us, the agents, like, it was depressing. Like, I missed my people. And just watching them on TV wasn't enough. And like, I saw Jody Myers a couple weeks ago from the brand, and we hugged. I'm like, you realize it's been since February of last year that we've seen each other, right? It's, whoa. But yeah, so virtual showings, I mean, it really has changed everything we do. And, that's another thing, for those watching, check out on our YouTube channel and on Facebook, where we're putting out a video about, if you're doing virtual tours, we got 5 cool tips for you to help you really elevate that experience and make sure that that's awesome. But no, so I mean, this has been a great first episode, I think. For those listening on podcast and for those on YouTube, I hope you'll join us back next week. We're going to be putting these out. We'll drop them every Sunday evening so that you can hopefully maybe listen to it on your ride to work or whenever you have time. And our goal is to really focus on helping agents grow their business. Our CEO of Century 21 is Mike Meadler, and we named this show kind of in his honor after what I call the Meadler rule. And Mike's very famous for saying, it takes 121%, and it's 50% motivation, 50% education, and then that extra 21% is the action. So I hope that you've gotten some tips today on how to stay positive, to make sure your mindset, your motivation is right, and especially in this tough market. The easiest way to get rid of all these buyer challenges, by the way, is just list property instead of working with buyers. That's always there. Hope we gave you some good tips to be able to make the process easier. So now it's up to you listening and watching to take what you talked about today. If you found something that is useful, to take it back and put it into your business and grow. And we're going to kind of follow that format with our podcast. We're going to, take a topic and we're going to, kind of dive into it, not so linear, if you will, but it'll have all those elements of motivation, education, and action so that you can take it and put it back in your business. And our hope is that you can take just one nugget. If you can take one nugget from our podcast and put it in your business and improve your business incrementally, focus on being a better agent tomorrow than you are today, right? If we can just help you do that, man, for me, it's the best reward ever.
That'll be worth it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching our podcast or listening to our podcast, right? And watching us on YouTube. If you're on podcast, please leave us a review on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Click on that bell so that you know the next time we publish a video. We've got lots of great content coming out, not just the podcast. We have our Mindset Mondays. We're going to have a Tuesday tactical session. We're going to have my One More Thing every Friday where I kind of reflect back on everything. Steve Jobs is my hero, so I had to name that after him, right? Kind of look back on everything. We have Marketing Monday videos, so we're going to be giving you practical tips that you can take from marketing, whether it be photography, videography, social media, advertising. All of that's on the table. And if you have something that you would like to have us talk about, send us an email to support@myoneblue.com. We'll put the address in the description below, and we're happy to take on your topics as well and work them in. Thank you so much for watching. Go out there, be extraordinary, defy mediocrity, and above all, make sure every day you give it 121%.